What it is, y'all? It is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with more Danmachi. And if you guys are enjoying the content I'm bringing to you to the channel, make sure you hit that thumbs up button so I know this is the type of content you guys want to see going forward in the future. And as you can kind of tell by the title of the video, we are talking very specifically about Heroic Trial. But before we get into Heroic Trial, the main thing you want to do here, you want to make sure you have a good understanding about who we're facing in this event. So let's go ahead and talk about this Lily and her friend, the Wedding Tione. Okay, Lily here. Main thing you want to look out for her is this attack here, Bubble Rush. Mid-water magic attack with Ultra Encounter Rate and ally status debuff -1 turn. That means that as you debuff, which is going to be an important part of this, she can actually start removing those debuffs 1 turn at a time. So debuffs are going to be really important. Plus, high water magic attack and allies magic and water attack damage plus 30% for 2 turns. So she's going to buff her units and prevent debuffs from really affecting them. Wedding Tione, who actually I do not have, although I swear I pulled her before. Wedding Tione does a self-strength and water attack damage buff. So she doesn't rely on the buff from Lily, but she's going to give herself a really good strength buff. And damage received, attack all targets minus 25% for 2 turns. That's going to be really important in kind of into your understanding as to the team that I'm using and why the team I'm using. Okay? In fact, let's go ahead and introduce the team I'm using. Boom. I am literally just using my... In fact, I'm going to change her out for a moment, or him out for a moment. I'm going to put Orna on here only because I do personally find it a little bit easier with the increased counter rate on Haruhime. Because you know when Haruhime does her counter, she heals. Pretty important that. So it doesn't really matter who you face first. I'm going to be honest because while I am going to target Tione, generally speaking, when I go through this, I actually wind up taking out Lily first. And I'll explain why here in a moment, but let's go ahead and get in here with this. Now, like I said, they do debuff your AoE attacks, so the key here is going to be doing single target attacks. And you'll notice this is literally just my Record Buster team for that exact purpose. I am going to go ahead and do the status debuffs, only because the status debuffs on these units will start decreasing drastically thanks to Lily if we don't just start buffing the hell out of that. Okay? And we're going to reduce the guard rate. Hopefully that will help us kind of take them out a little quicker. Now you see they hit really hard because of all those buffs. So, in fact, Asfi dying was not in my plan. Honestly, I would like Haruhime to do a little better job of defending, but you know, I could drop Asfi from the team. You can see I've already cleared this. It's just Asfi is not in the mood to cooperate with us, and Haruhime isn't really either. So, all right, we've got most of our buff stack done. I am going to go ahead and increase the penetration rate and the counter rate here, and we're going to keep Tione. Basically, we're going to keep her basically in the more or less in the power. And the number one thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep just hammering down on them until I have a double SA. So we're at the point now where our units are strong enough. The biggest problem with my Asfi is she's just not strong enough to withstand the hits they're producing. The hits they're producing are no joke, but since I've debuffed them down far enough, I'm really not that worried about it. Okay? You'll notice Tione is almost dead already. But we got our double SA. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of the gate, and I'm actually going to do a double attack with Katori, because I think Katori is going to hit a little bit harder, if I'm honest, than Goblin Slayer. Now, it is worth noting here that these units, all the element buffs, it's a totally different word, it means something completely different. All the element debuffs are only coming from skills that I produced. They are 0 across the board for all elements. Okay, magic is down 15% naturally, and Physical, I believe, is 0% from the start. So do bear that in mind. You can use any element you want. They don't care. They prefer you attack with, well, they would prefer you didn't attack, but they are weakest to magic. But I've gone ahead and debuffed physical enough that physical is going to be fine. Now, on this turn, I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, I'm going to do a double SA. Normally, I do double SA with Goblin Slayer, but we're literally not going to get another SA out of this, so it's not going to matter too much. All right, so double SA with Haruhime. Remember, that is going to buff everybody. They're going to get their 100%. And because we're going to keep Haruhime in play, we're not going to lose all of that. So they don't debuff us. They're just trying to remove the buffs on themselves and buff themselves. So we're just basically out-buffing them. Now, you'll notice that when Mikasa attacks, she's going to remove the magic buff on... Oh, man, that didn't hit nearly as hard as I was hoping. That's alright. Well, Tione is gone this turn either way. Normally, and I'll say normally, as I do that, Goblin Slayer is going to wipe her out in the first turn. But either way, now turn 8 here. And, well, Lily's kind of... Lily is done. Good night, Lily. So, could have done that a bit faster, but, you know, it is what it is. That's, once again, the reason that I'm using a single target team. I guess I could have done a rerun of it, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and do this way one more time. So, literally, all I'm doing is I'm spending a lot of my time making sure that my units are producing the maximum amount of single target damage that they possibly can. So let's go ahead and do that. And that's kind of the key here. Don't get too hung up on the exact units I'm using. Bear in mind, my two main things are producing a lot of single target damage. I'm targeting, you know, specific elements, basically. Debuffing those elements and debuffing their physical resistance, because they are weak to magic, but my magic teams aren't really the best. They're not really good for that matter. And so debuffing physical, debuffing the element, and hitting it with single target attacks is the most effective way to do this, because, as stated prior, in fact, it'd probably be more effective if I targeted Lily right out of the gate, because that's going to remove her magic buff, and I don't have anybody to remove the strength buff, so let's do that. There we go. Don't die, Osvi. Osvi's dead again. I swear to you, and when I was not recording this, Osvi was just fine. Like, you can see I S-cleared it. So just use someone there that's just not going to fall to pieces the first time your opponent blinks, apparently. But hey, Osvi just proved to me that she's the weak link in the chain, so probably just need to remove her from the stack altogether. And she's only reducing the guard rate. She's not really that critical to success, if I'm completely honest. Plus, I could run Katori in the front, and I could use Katori's buff. Basically, it prevents people from dying. That's another opportunity to basically see this through, but it's all about to be irrelevant anyway. Turn 5. Alright. And now on turn 6, I'm going to go ahead and do a double attack with Haruhime and Goblin Slayer this time, just because we've debuffed them enough that Goblin Slayer is going to do more than Katori, even though Katori is a little bit stronger of a unit. Slightly annoying that previous run, but hey, it is what it is. Guard rate down should have been enough to initiate this, but Goblin Slayer's not going to kill her, but he's going to get really close. Okay? Alright. Alright, GS, just do it. Just do it. Your essay takes too long, my man. There we go. And she's actually... okay. Now she's pretty well dead. And, yeah. You can see how absolutely easy this is. Like I said, single target attacks, buff the hell out of them. Pick an ailment, And if you can do magic, great. If you can't, just debuff physical. It's pretty straightforward stuff. I'm willing to bet most people's Record Buster teams, if they have a good Record Buster team, will be able to handle that fairly soundly. Okay. Now in the exchange, there are 4 units you get to choose from. You get the Bride Seer, the Wedding Hestia, the Wedding Tione, and the Wedding Lily. Seer and Hestia being assist units and not adventurers. They're not necessarily included in this, but it is what it is. So that's the video, guys. Let me know what y'all thought in the comments section down below. Like I said, a Record Buster team will just take this apart. I had no problems whatsoever, and I'll stress this once again. Don't pay too much attention to the units I am using. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and pull Osfi off of the stack here and try this one more time without the weak link in my chain, because frankly, I like showing you a proper S-clear. I don't like just explaining how to fix a problem, because like I did, several clears before this video and have never had a problem. You can even see the S-clear stat, but it is just extremely annoying to have to deal with uncooperative units. And like I said, you can go in here and use this skill, and that's just going to stop everyone from dying. So, might as well come out of the gate with that. Save everyone for 1 hit. And now we'll do our buffs. Everyone else is attacking. Here we go. In fact, I'm not even going to do the penetration rate buff. Well, I guess I should do the penetration rate buff. We'll do that now on this turn. Now, if we go over here, you'll see... So, see, once again, water hasn't been debuffed. Everything else is pretty much the same. And the number of turns is really extremely low because Lily is removing those buffs. So, we do need to be cognizant of that. Did she already have her buff? Yeah, strength 60%. So, there we go. Everything else should look pretty much the same. Get them, girls! Get them, get them, get them. Alright, and Lily is down to 1 turn on all those. So once again, we're going to go in here and buff the mess out of it. There we go. Turn 6. We're going to target Tione, and we're going to go ahead and wipe her the hell out. That's it. It's a really, really easy, straightforward stuff. I know I've done it 3 times, and I'm harping on about the same things. But I want you to kind of notice more of the trend, less of the exact units I'm using. People get too caught up in, oh, I don't have Mikasa because I started X, Y, or Z. The units themselves are not the important part. The important part is the debuffing and the single target attacks. It's really the most important part here by a huge margin. It's easy to get caught up in the wrong things. So I want to make sure that you guys are prepared with everything you need for this. But like I said, if you bring in your Record Buster team, you will probably ruin this event with a fair amount of efficiency. Okay? Now, her guard rate isn't down, but yeah, she did anyway. Good night. Like I said, straightforward. No problems. Let me know what y'all thought in the comment section down below. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll be back at you guys with more Danmachi in a bit.